There we go. Now we got everything plugged in and everything ready to go. And yes, I decided to try out a background this time. What do you think? Little Acrisure Stadium with the Pitt Panther logo there. I always see people do these StreamYard live streams, and they've got some kind of cool photo or something behind them. I didn't want this thing that has the weird like halo glow around me. I didn't really want to do this. What I really wanted was to have like Jim and I both on the screen with this picture behind us. But lo and behold, I'm not competent enough to figure out how to do that. So I'll have to keep working at that and see if I can figure out how to do an overlay. I'll probably keep this thing on my screen. Jim's going to have just his normal Johnstown background. But I'm going to keep this on my screen until it gets annoying. And then I try and figure it out how to remove it while Jim talks. Yes, Pitt Fan H2P says that Chris is reporting live from Acrisure. I am. I'm out here stomping on the field. So there's something to complain about when when Pitt gets out there, when the Steelers get out there. I'm out there tearing up the field and replacing the divots or not replacing the divots. Marlon Barnes Truther wants to know Chris is playing Saturday. I'm not playing Saturday. I might go down on the field though, because this is going to be one of those games where it'll be fun to be down on the sideline for a little while and taking in the whole atmosphere. It's going to be a pretty great one. At Acrisure Stadium on Saturday. It's going to be a great atmosphere for Pitt-Notre Dame. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And we have a lot to talk about getting ready for this game here tonight on the live Panther-Lair Show. So let's, Chris Bruno says, this is how the field gets messed up for the Steelers. How dare you, Chris? Yeah, I'm doing it. I guess, who do they play? They play the Bengals on Sunday or something? Oh, geez. Well, they'll have something to complain about. Or they'll have a reason for why they lose that game. And it won't just be because Joe Flacco throws for another 4 touchdowns and 400 yards to help my fantasy football team. No, it'll be because I stomped on the grass. All right, let's bring Jim in here. We could talk about this. Jim, what do you think of my background there?
A familiar setting.
Right. I actually, now when I do this layout with us like this, you can't see it as much. I think if I do that, see, I wanted this format.
Okay.
With this photo of Acrisure Stadium behind us. So instead of like a black screen back there, it'd be that. Like, wouldn't that look cool?
I think that would look, that would look cool. Now, it just kind of looks weird. Like you're just in the stadium and I'm just in my kitchen.
I'm reporting live from Acrisure Stadium where it is still daylight out. It actually hasn't gotten dark here yet. Like I say, I'll probably at some point while you're talking, I'll try and figure out how to take that off. I actually forgot that I was messing around with it earlier. And I sat down and I was like, crap, I got to start the live stream. And I turned it on. I was like, oh, shoot, I still have that photo on there and I forgot to remove it. So I'll figure out how to do something with this at some point, or I'll forget about it as soon as we get done here at 9:30 and move on. Jim, giant game on Saturday. Does it feel like we're kind of forgetting about the fact that there's a basketball game tomorrow night?
In a way, yes. It doesn't feel like it's like backyard brawl time. Like like that game should be hyped up, and like Pitt just put out like a cool video narrated by Levance Fields, trying to get everyone hyped up for the game. But like, I don't know, all the attention's on football right now, and I get it, but I don't know. I'm going to Morgantown tomorrow, so I guess like I can't forget about that game. I don't want to be late for work.
Yeah, I mean you're and don't forget it's early too, right?
Yeah,
6 o'clock tip. So don't you'll definitely be there. It's definitely on your mind. I don't even think like, do you think it's because people don't have high expectations for the Pitt basketball team? Do you think that's part, or is it's just completely getting overshadowed by an enormous football game?
I think a little bit of both. I there's definitely a lot of excitement around this football team, and I mean just the game itself, like College Game Day, all of it. Like it's just such a big deal right now. Like I think that's all anyone's really focused on in the Pitt universe. But I mean, I'm sure part of it is expectations with basketball, and I don't think like West Virginia is supposed to be all that good either. Like I think they were picked like 12th in the Big 12, something like that. So it was the game just doesn't carry a lot of hype. West Virginia has a brand new coach. West Virginia has a brand new roster. Pitt has a brand new roster. So it's like there's no familiarity going into this game, at least before. Like, even if the rosters were changing, like you knew it was Huggins, but like now you don't even have that.
Yeah. I mean, West Virginia, their 5 starters are all transfers. A couple of them came from North Texas with their new head coach, but either way, they're all transfers. And they've beaten Mount St. Mary's, Campbell, and Lehigh. Not a lot different from Youngstown State, Longwood, and Eastern Michigan, right? I mean, like, I don't know where they are in the, Ken Palm or anything like that, but I have noticed that West Virginia doesn't score much, but they also haven't given up much. They've held teams to pretty low scoring totals. Mount St. Mary scored 54, Campbell scored 65, and Lehigh scored 47. I think in that Lehigh game, both teams scored like 27 points in the second half. So West Virginia, not exactly an offensive powerhouse either. They're getting to the free throw line about as much as Pitt. They, kind of similar on turnovers. The difference is they're not scoring as much as Pitt, but I think it will be a defensive challenge. But I just, are we going to take much out of this game tomorrow night?
It's going to be interesting if Brandon Cummings doesn't play. I mean, I think that's like a big storyline going into this, just because he's like the one perimeter option, like you kind of know, or you can kind of trust that's probably going to score. And he's played in these kind of environments in a Pitt uniform. Like everyone else, this is their first big road game. Like this is like Roman Cialipa, Amari Witherspoon. Like it's going to be loud down there. Like even though there's not a lot of buzz, like come 6 o'clock tomorrow night, like that student section is going to be going. Like the Coliseum gets pretty loud. Like it's going to be a tough environment. So I don't know if I'm going to take a ton of like big picture takeaways for Pitt from this game, but like I'm interested to see how they handle the environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for them to be on the road for the first time. I think like you can get a lot out of that. You can learn a lot about your team. I can't put my head on the side of I can't put my hand up here by my head because see that I hate this. I hate when I watch this kind of thing, when I watch people do this, like, and if you should have, if you had talked a little bit longer there, I would have figured out how to take this photo off my background. But you cut off your points too quickly. So somebody asked a question. Actually, a few people have asked questions about Pitt basketball. Chris Bruno wants to know, what are your pleasant surprises for the basketball team so far? I don't know if I have one, Jim. Cam Corrin's been better than I expected. He's got 32 rebounds in the first 3 games. He's scoring 15 points per game. I guess I would say that. Like, and I don't mean that as like, oh, they're just all bad. I just mean like nothing has really been that much of a surprise, I think. I think everything, other than DeMarco Minor making 4 threes in the Longwood game, and Cam Corrin averaging 15 and 10. I don't know. Like, I don't think there have been many surprises at all, good or bad. You?
I mean, I would say just the overall, like the team's commitment to defense and rebounding, it seems more apparent than in previous seasons. Like they're holding teams to low shooting percentages, and obviously they're out rebounding teams just because they're bigger. I mean, that's comes with the territory when you play mid-major teams, but there does seem to be a little more emphasis on getting towards the glass. So we'll see if that continues. I mean, I'm a little surprised by DeMarco Minor, like pleasantly. Like I think his last 2 games have been really good, and he impacts the game in a lot of ways. He was scoring. He was, he rebounds well for a little guy. I mean, he got up and had a dunk the other night. So, like, I don't know. I think there's a little bit more to his game than I expected. And it's interesting just because, like, I'm focused on him. He's the point guard. And, like, I also happened to watch the Kentucky basketball game last night where Pitt's former point guard played. And
yes,
Jalen didn't have a good one.
No, that wasn't so hot for him coming off the bench. It wasn't probably not what they were hoping for out of Jalen Lowe. But I don't know. Like I guess I don't know. I feel like Minor has been pretty much the guy I expected him to be. Again, outside of making 4 threes the other night, like some pretty tough defense, facilitating, tough guard, make his free throws, and that's what he's been, right? Like. Brandon Cummings, I think, has risen to the occasion. I might say he's a pleasant surprise, but I predicted him to be the leading scorer. So he's been more or less in line with that. Omari Witherspoon, I think we started raising the level of expectations there after seeing him in the exhibition games and the scrimmage that they had or the practice that they had. Noyes Indersitis has been kind of who I expected him to be, although I think he can be a little more refined and developed. Same thing for Roman Cialipa. I mean, Barry Dunny Jr. has been an unpleasant surprise, right? I mean, he's been a disappointment of falling short. I don't know. Like, I guess part of it is I still really don't know who this team is. Like, I don't think I've really gotten a handle on this team's identity yet. They've done different things in each of these 3 games. They've started slow in 2 of them. They started fast in 1 and then kind of petered out and, ended up what could have been a 20-point win ended up being, only 12. They've been really good at getting to the free throw line and really bad at making free throws. So that's, I shouldn't say really bad, but they're 68%. West Virginia also gets to the free throw line a lot. Uh-oh. Did Jim just cancel himself? Jim, where'd you go? Oh, no, we lost Jim. Guys, I don't know what happened with Jim. There he is. He came back to us. Jim, what happened?
I was like clicking in and out of like different tabs I have open, and you're back. You're back.
Okay.
You're back in your office.
So this tells me too that when I click that button, it'll automatically do it. Because I was looking at different photos I could put in, like maybe a basketball photo, but I was like, if I click this, is it just going to automatically change? Now I know that it does. So anyway, so you were just messing around and clicked you closed the tab that was the StreamYard tab.
I did.
Okay. Well,
you don't want to have like early season mistakes this late in the year. So
yeah. Well, I don't know if you're like me, like I go through the week and like tabs build up. You know what I mean? Like I still have open. I mean, I've got the Pro Football Focus is always open. The weekly game notes are always open. The last game's box score is always open. But like I can close Notre Dame's stat book. I don't need that. I don't need West Virginia's schedule open either. But my problem is when I have too many tabs open, they all get small. And so when I try and get to one, I accidentally close another. And so that could happen for sure. All right. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Pitt basketball right now?
Not really. I mean, I'm interested. Like, I want to see how it goes. Like, it's a big game, but like, that's about all I have.
Yeah. So let's talk Pitt and Notre Dame as it were the, big game of the week, and I'm trying to decide where to start. Oh, you know what? Somebody just commented. Brock commented, "So long, Logan Nagel." Yeah, the Pitt defensive line commitment. Did tweet it out about an hour ago or an hour and a half ago. I've been kind of tied up with some things, Jim, so I missed it. But Logan Nagel flipped his commitment to Miami. Nagel was a big get for Pitt. When he was committed, he was. I think it was a bit of a surprise. They really worked and kind of flipped the script there and ended up landing him. He was a good get, and it's a blow to the recruiting class for him to go. I don't think it should be a complete surprise. I think when he took an official visit to Miami, was that last week, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there?
Whenever they played Syracuse. So
okay, so last week, I think. Yeah, that's right, because Miami beat Syracuse and jumped Georgia Tech when Georgia Tech was off last weekend, I think. Yeah. Just makes sense. I mean, it's totally reasonable rankings movements in the college football playoff rankings, the ones that actually count. But anyway, I think Pitt probably had a feeling like there might be movement afoot when Logan Nagel took that official visit to Miami, and now he's out of the recruiting class. So a little bit of bad news, I guess, this week. But otherwise, we can keep our focus on this game. But in the, run up to this game, of course, there were other things that got people's attention. And just because Josh Newark posted it like an hour ago, we're going to read it. I was hoping we could avoid comments about this, but here we go. So Josh Newark said, outside of Yinzer Media that needs controversy, do the Pat Narduzi comments register at all as a negative? Because I get what he was saying and he's correct. The ACC games matter. Just a nothing burger. So, what do you? I'll give you the floor first, Jim. Pat Narduzi's comments. He says he'd gladly get beat 110-10 by Notre Dame if it means winning the other 2 games, and that's pretty much how he said it and what he said. You on Tuesdays do 10 takeaways from Pat Narduzi's press conference. So you read through the transcript. Do you watch the video as well, or do you just read through the comments? How do you approach it?
Usually just the transcript.
You read the transcript. So you're reading through, and that was a long one. It was like a 22-minute press conference, something like that. You read over that quote. Did it give you pause? Did it jump out to you? Did you say, hey, this is the kind of thing that's going to cause a real firestorm on the internets tonight?
My initial thought was no, but I already saw the firestorm starting to brew. Okay. I think I saw maybe Stephen Thompson or somebody tweeted out the quote, and it started to get some run. And it took on a life of its own. And it's not the first time a Pat Narduzi, like, just little like throwaway comment turns into something bigger than it is. I mean, he doesn't want to lose the game 110-0 or whatever. And like, he's not like taking this game lightly. Like, the message inside that building is like, they want to beat Notre Dame, and anyone can see that. But like, my man just, he can't put it eloquently, and he never has been able to. And it just comes out wrong. And, people always can take, a 30-second clip and turn it into a, and I'm seeing it like pop up on my Facebook from like random, like, Barstool and other aggregators and like things like that. So it's like, it became something more than it is. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to ask him about it on Thursday. I don't know if he's going to change his tune, but I mean, obviously I think it was exaggerated by the outside national media.
I mean, I am going to ask him about it tomorrow because give you a chance, clarify your comments or whatever. Partially, I'm just kind of curious that, like, I mean, the national media types who did a little drive by on this thing, like, if we get him to clarify it tomorrow, will they provide equal airtime for that? And my guess is no. But what's done is done. I will ask him about it tomorrow. I just like you said, on first glance, it didn't really jump out to you. And I was Tuesday, I was walking into the facility talking to another writer who's been around for a while, and we were both just like, man, that just didn't even like register with me while I was sitting there on Monday at the press conference. Like, so I got home from the press conference on Monday. I eat lunch, I start working, I'm uploading video, I'm uploading the transcript, I'm cutting up video to use in the morning pit for the next day, I'm recording in the morning pit. Like, it was a couple hours where I wasn't really looking at the message boards, I wasn't really looking at Twitter. And I finally come back to it and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? What? Oh, geez. And then it like sort of dawns on me, like, what people are getting worked up about and what he said and how it came across. And I said this on Twitter that, like, after 11 years, don't we all know by now that a lot of times you take the spirit of Pat Narduzi's comments more than the literal words? And a bunch of the replies to that were like, we're talking about a grown adult who gets paid millions of dollars. I think it's okay to expect him to use his words, like, and I can't disagree with that. I can't I don't have an argument against that. And some people are like, no, don't defend this. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, like, how, like, this has been happening for 11 years, that, like, you hear him say something and you're like, okay, I get what you're saying. And there's a relevant point in there. But God, did you have to say it that way? Because when you said it that way, it kind of comes off as being something probably different than what you wanted. The best way to answer that question, Coach, is this game a must-win game? Well, look, we want to win every week. To us, every game is a must-win game. I mean, we know that we've got our goals out there. Our goal is to make the ACC championship game, and this game doesn't affect that. But this is the game we're playing this week, and so this is the most important game. It's a must-win game, just like 2 weeks ago at Stanford was a must-win game, and next week at Georgia Tech will be a must-win game, and week 1 against Duquesne was a must-win. We want to win every week. That's what you say. And you can make mention of the fact that it's not an ACC game. You can make mention of the fact that win or lose, your goals are still out there. But you don't say it like that, because inevitably you're going to get what he got. And he can't really, like, complain about it. I thought we would hear the our goals are still in front of us comments after the game. Right. Win or lose, I thought we would hear that. Certainly loss. And even after a win, I thought that they would say that, the goals are still in front of us. I didn't really think we would get it before the game, but there it was. I don't think it's, I go back and forth on, is it taking away from coverage of this game? And, like, there's part of me that kind of thinks, like, well, how much can you take away from zero? Like, not that nobody's paying attention to this game, but, like, this isn't getting talked about the way a big SEC game would get talked about, or a big Big Ten game would get talked about, or something like that. There's interest in it. There's coverage of it. It's a top 10 team against a top 25 team. But it's not like, oh, man, who was it that made a big deal about it? Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman. It's not like those guys were going to spend a 30-minute segment breaking down Mason Heinschel and Kyle Lewis, like, so, and they're, it's not like they were going to like break those, talk about those guys or talk about how good Sean Lee Jr. has been. And then they were like, wait, Andy, scrap the Kyle Lewis segment. We got to talk about the Narduzi comments. It it didn't really, and when it comes down to it, just go win the game. If you win the game, then they have to talk about you. And like, will the quote get brought up after the game, win or lose? Yes. Does it matter? No. Is it a little embarrassing? Probably. Could he have said it better? Absolutely. All right. Do you have anything else to say about that? I kind of don't. I didn't even want to talk about it, but Josh asked about it like an hour ago, so I felt like we should.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, he's going to say what he's going to say. Like, I said earlier in the week, like, it wouldn't be a big game for Pitt unless, like, Pat Narduzi, like, drew attention to himself, like, with headlines. Like, it kind of just feels right. Like, he has to do this. It's part of his routine or whatever it is. But, like, the only thing that bothered me with the comments is, like, the ACC's the only thing we're on our mind. Like, no, dude, like, you're number 22 now. Like, you actually have a chance. Like, if you just win out, like, there's still a path that way too. So that's like that's the only way. It's like, just don't say it like that, because like there's more than one way to get there. So
yeah, my only, and somebody else said that on the message boards. My only thing there is, like, I don't think there's any coach in America who will be sitting there with the number 24 team in the country who already has 2 losses and 3 games left to play, who would talk in any kind of like tangible terms about a path to an at-large bid. You know what I mean? Like that, like nobody who's ranked number 24 with 3 games left is going to be talking about, well, we've got a chance to get an at-large spot. I think that's too like intangible. I think it's too sort of vague, and they're not going to talk about how they're assuming you win the next 3 games or something. The coaches will talk about like the tangible, real goal, which is you win the conference. And so I don't think anybody in his position would talk about how they can win an at-large bid. I think you just keep it on this game. We want to win this game. It's a big game against a big opponent. A lot of national TV. It's going to be sold out. We're excited. College game days here. This is a must win because this is the game that's next on our schedule, and we want to win every single game. And then I think you move on with it. Josh Newark says, Pat Narduzi apparently just told us to get liquored up for the game. I expect multiple shots at the game since you have Narduzi's permission. So that was posted at 7:58 p.m. I'm assuming on Pat Narduzi's radio show, he said something about drinking a lot. I don't know. I always mean to listen to that, and then I never do listen to it. But, Jim, we'll have multiple shots of the game if the situation calls for it. I don't think it's the kind of thing you can plan. You know what I mean? You have to go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has to be organic. And like, I guess like get liquored up because it's a noon game. You got to get to the game, got to be loud and all that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we were talking like, before the interview started today, like if you're a college kid, like, are you sleeping on Friday night going into Saturday?
Yeah. I mean, you need energy, man. These games are long. You need to rest.
You have to get in line at 6 for college game day.
Then you need to rest. You need to prepare. You know what I mean? Like failing to prepare is preparing to fail. You know that, Jim. Maybe, right?
Or it's just a longer tailgate for these kids.
I don't think so. I think they have to get in line at 6 for what? To like get the shuttles or to get a good seat? What are you talking about?
Like college game day.
For game day. Oh, for game day.
That's what I mean. Like they have to be there so much earlier. Like it is tough. Like you might have to stay up all night.
I wouldn't do it, but
a lot of people will.
I'm really old. So Josh Newark also says, Peak, we're the same age. Did we share the same experience of tearing down the goalpost at the last game at Pitt Stadium? And if so, what was the craziest thing you saw that night? No, I wasn't at the last game at Pitt Stadium. I was there when they beat Miami in 97. I think the goalpost came down that night, but I didn't. I wasn't at that game. Let's see. Gary Landefeld says, Chris and Jim, do you think there's a possibility that we see a new defensive package on Saturday that has Kyle Lewis, Rasheem Biles, Braylon Lovelace, and Cam Lindsey on the field at the same time to counter Love and Price? I don't think so. I think they want to try and stop the run with the front four. I think they want the front four to clog up the gaps and clog up the lanes, and then the linebackers kind of like clean it up. I don't think Pat Narduzi to stop I guess my first thought is he's talking about taking a defensive lineman off the field. I don't think they're going to go with a 4-4-3 alignment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they want to do that. I'm concerned about the running game, Jim. Notre Dame has great running backs and very good, run blocking, very good offensive line. But like, they've got a big tight end. And we know what tight ends can do to this defense. We've seen it. Like, what would you put the line, the odds at for let's say over under 99.5 receiving yards for their tight end? Like, would the over be like plus 150 or something like that? Or would it even be like minus 110? I mean, would that be the favorite to bet over on 100 receiving yards for the tight end?
I would bet on him anytime touchdown score, 100%. Like,
sure.
they are definitely gonna, and like he's gonna have like 6 or 7 catches, and they're all gonna be like on like crucial third downs, like right whenever Pitt's defense like thinks they're about to get a stop, and it's like, oh, there's that little seam pass, and that 6'7" tight end just got 17 yards
because they blitz 5 guys and they let the linebacker open up the seam, and the safety was like way downfield. Yeah.
Like I mean, I think that's what like Pitt should be most worried about defensively with Notre Dame. It's just that like they can mix it up. Like, those running backs are great, and like I don't think Pitt's going to try to do anything special to counter them. Like, it's strength on strength. Like, Pitt's the best in the country in yards per rush or something like that. Like, they're going to go in believing they can stop Notre Dame. They believe that every game they play. So like, they're not going to do anything differently. Like, we see those defensive tackles, like they don't have a ton of stats, but like everything just collapses in the middle every single time. Like, they are just generating stops right at the middle. So that's going to be a good chess match there. And like, I'm sure like Love's going to get his runs. Like, he's really good. He's going to break plays, but like, it's also going to be one of those games where it's like, he's going to feel it at the end of the game too, I would think.
Yeah. I think somebody on the message board compared it to, I forget which running back they were referring to. Hollywood Smoothie or Holiday Smoothie from NC State, like 1, 1, 2, -1, -2, and then maybe there might be like a 45 or something like that. But it'll be a lot of like short gains, no gains, stops for a loss, and then maybe he has 1 or 2 that he breaks. And that was kind of was that him who did that against Pitt, right? He had the one long touchdown run.
Yeah, I think
that was basically it. Like, that was all of his yards. So I could see that being the case. And I mean, Pitt needs that to be the case if they're going to win, right? Like, because I like when I think about scenarios where, Pitt can win this game, and I mean, we'll bring up Adam Vidchik's question here when he talks for a score and a bold prediction. When I think about scenarios of how Pitt can win this game, or if Pitt can win this game, like, they sort of just assume that Pitt's going to stop the run. You know what I mean? I start thinking about, well, they have to get turnovers, they have to get this, or they have to get that. Like, if they give up a consistent running game, if Notre Dame runs for 200 yards or something, I don't see any way Pitt can win it, because I think the real challenge is going to be moving the ball and protecting the ball on offense. And so I think I think it's going to be a real struggle to get downfield. I think it's going to be a war of attrition in that respect. And so if you are giving up runs and long drives and time of possession, it just seems almost impossible to win. So any of my like scenarios for Pitt to win, they all start with stopping the run,
Yeah, and like they always say, like that's their number one goal. That's what they sell out to do. That is the basis of this defense. So like we're gonna see it. Like I said, it's strength on strength. Like it's arguably the best run back in the country against arguably the best run defense in the country. Like this is what it's gonna be, and Pitt's gonna have their 3 linebackers. So are we already diving into Adam's like score and bold prediction? Or are we?
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to close the show on that. We'll do it, and then people can respond to it with comments we may or may not get to. But do you have a bold prediction for this game?
I think Mason Heinschel gets 300 again.
I mean, he's going to throw the ball 78 times, so
right.
I mean, he only needs to average like 4 yards per attempt, and he should clear that.
Yeah.
Any touchdowns?
I think he'll have some touch. Like I think Pitt's going to be able to like move the ball. Like I think for both sides. I mean, I think it's going to come down to freshman quarterbacks making throws, and I think both of them are good, and I think both of them are going to make throws. I mean, Pitt's going to sell out to stop the run, and on the other side, like Pitt just simply can't run. Like Pitt's not going to line up and run the ball down on Notre Dame. Like it's just not happening. Like I don't see a path wherever like Pitt rushes for like over 100 yards in this game. Like it's going to be the Mason Heinzel show 100%. So maybe I should adjust that to like 350, just because like that's going to be the only way Pitt's going to move the ball.
Ooh.
But I don't know. 350 feels like a lot for a bold prediction.
Feels like a lot of yards, man. I don't know. Like I feel like it's going to be tough to move the ball against this Notre Dame defense. Like I feel like it's going to be like possessions are at a premium, gains are at a premium. If you get across the 40, like you need to be thinking touchdown. If you get into the red zone, I'm serious. I mean, I feel like getting across the 40, getting across the 30, getting in the red zone is going to be like a major accomplishment. And I feel like those are there. You're only going to get a few opportunities for those, and you have got to cash in. Like no turnovers in the red zone, no wasted possessions in the red zone, no field goals in the red zone. Like if you get there, you have got to be able to cash it in. I think it's going to be a war of attrition for Pitt's offense. And if Pitt's defense gives up some of those big plays we're talking about, then I just don't think Pitt can score with Notre Dame in this game. I don't know if they're going to be able to run, like you said. Maybe if they try to attack the perimeter, they can, but we know they don't like to do that. They'd rather just, smack their head off the wall or off Lyndon Cooper's back, 30 times. I don't know. It's just tough. My bold prediction, though, might be Cruz Brookins scoop and score.
Okay.
Maybe for the first touchdown.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you get a free subscription for the month then?
I think we're up to like giving away like a 6-month subscription now because nobody's gotten it in a while. Like somebody got it obviously like 6 games ago. Got the guess the first touchdown prediction on Panther-Lair.com, but nobody has gotten it since. So I guess I have to come up with yardage though. People always say that's where they get hung up on the guess first touchdown. They get the play and they get the player, but they don't always get the yardage. They say somebody once was like, that makes it too hard. I'm like, well, that's the point. Like I don't want, not that I don't want people to win, but I don't want it to be easy to win. We need something to differentiate here. So I would say Cruz Brookins gets a 38-yard fumble return for Pitt's first touchdown. You are going to crap your pants when that happens. Like you are going to lose it when, probably
just spill my coffee.
I hope you don't crap your pants. I shouldn't have said that. Poetically speaking, I hope you don't actually, but yeah, I also hope you don't spill your coffee because you'll probably dump it on your computer and then I'll have to do all the post-game stuff that you usually do. And I don't want to do that. So anyway, that's my bold prediction. Yeah, it does feel like a little bit early to get into a score prediction, but what the hell? What do you got?
This is the game that's always given me, like, whenever I looked at Pitt's schedule in the preseason, I was like, I think I could start there with the loss. Like, I don't think Pitt's going to beat Notre Dame. And I still am kind of there. I think Pitt can cover the spread. Like, I think it got up to 12. It was like 10. It was 12, then it was 10, then apparently it's back to 12 or something like that. So I don't know. I'll say like 35-27. Like I think both teams are going to be able to move up and down a little bit more than what you're saying. But yeah, I think that's 35-27. Pitt covers the spread, but I just think Notre Dame's better. Like I think it's like Pitt has really good players, but like that all 22, that all 44, like I think the depth of Notre Dame and just the size and like when you watch them in the college football playoffs last year, it's just a different dude up front. Like they just have like people movers with their offensive line.
Yeah. I could see a game. I could see any number of outcomes. I could see everything from, Pitt winning to Notre Dame winning, like all the different outcomes. But I think, I'm with you. I can't really sit here and say that I predict Pitt to win. I think maybe the best outcome will be a game like the 2018 game. Because what was that, like 1914 or something like that? And it was hard fought and it was close and it was a battle. And, went down to the end and you came out of the game feeling kind of good about Pitt. Like, I think, there's no moral victories, but as good as you can feel about a loss, I think you came out of that game sort of feeling that about Pitt. I think it'll probably be a crucial turnover. You know, I'm not really all that keen on how Mason Heinchel has protected the football lately. I felt he got really sloppy at the end of the Stanford game, and maybe that's just the situation of the game, and he just, was a little bit careless. But you can get away with being -1 in the turnover battle against Stanford. You can get away with being -1 in the turnover battle against Florida State or -1 against Duquesne. But I don't think you're going to be able to get away with that against Notre Dame. Notre Dame has won the turnover battle 6 times this season. They're 6-0. Pitt is weird. Pitt's only won the turnover battle 3 times this year. And with Mason Heinchel, they've won it twice. They were +3 against Boston College and +2 against Syracuse. And so, I just don't think you can do that. And I'm fully willing to believe that Mason Heinchel could take a big step in terms of, focus and approach and preparation and just be really on point and take what the defense gives him and not force the ball downfield and not be, try to be too aggressive in too many situations, pick his spots. I fully believe he's capable of doing that. I just don't know if I think he's going to do that on Saturday. So I'm looking at a game that Notre Dame wins 21-17 or something like that, or 20-15 or something. And, but Pitt plays well enough and acquits itself nicely that they can take some confidence and some momentum into the Georgia Tech game and still potentially go on a roll here and get back to Charlotte. So that's what I say. Travis Spagnolo says, I live in Columbus. Ohio State fans that I work with are telling me how awesome Mason looks, how cool it is that Pitt plays at Acrisure, and that they're rooting for Pitt on Saturday. Okay. Says, what a contrast to the constant negativity we see with the Pittsburgh local media towards Pitt. Yeah, it is what it is. Paul Sebastian says, would a trip to the playoffs get rid of every old Pitt fans Chicken Little were jinxed feeling like you joked about on Monday's Morning Pitt, or would it still exist? Look, Pitt fans will never stop being scared of their own shadow. The other shoe is always out there to drop for Pitt fans. No matter how much they win, no matter how much success they have, the other shoe is out there to drop. Pitt could go, 12, 13, what's the max? Like 16-0, 17-0, conceivably? Yeah. Okay. Pitt could do that and win the national championship. And the next year, if they lost a few games or they went 8-4, there'd be people saying, see, it was a fluke. It was a down year. Oh, they beat Ohio State in a down year. Or like, oh, Ohio State got knocked out by TCU, so they only had to face TCU. It wasn't that. Like, Pitt fans will never find a success that they can't, like, cut the legs out of. You know what I mean? Like, they can always find ways around that. And like, look, the Peach Bowl, right? You remember, like, the game thread during the Peach Bowl? Like, people are like, God, damn it, Narduzi still can't win the big one. Still can't. I'm like, what are you talking about? They just won 11 games. They won the ACC. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you have no, like, they're on their third string quarterback. What are you complaining about? But, like, there will always be waiting for that other shoe to drop. Like, that's never going to go away. Making the playoffs this year, like, let's say they made the playoffs and get bounced in the first round. Like I know, the message board is not going to be full of people saying, oh, that was a great season. That was great. They're going to be talking about, like, see, Pitt doesn't belong on the big stage. They backed in through winning a bad conference, and they don't belong. Like, this is and this is Pitt fans that I'm talking about. This isn't even, like, national media who will, be even louder about it. Like, this is Pitt fans that will say this. So, no, Paul, a trip to the playoffs will not take care of that. Jim, do you disagree about that, or you've been on the message boards long enough? You don't disagree?
No, yeah, I see it. And, like, they would just pivot towards, like, well, like, we got to fire Jeff Capel. Like, there's the next thing. There's the next thing to get mad about. So, like, there's, yeah.
It always, they always play the hits, they always play the hits. And talking about bringing back the hits, our old friend Chris Gates is back, Jim. Chris Gates is back sponsoring the Wednesday live show on the Panther-Lair podcast this week. And if you listened before, you know that Chris is one of us. He's a lifelong Pitt fan. He's a football season ticket holder since 1997. He's part of the Panther-Lair community, which makes him awesome. Chris also runs Chris Gates Fitness, where he works as an online fitness coach, helping busy parents and professionals lose weight, build muscle, and get healthier, all in a realistic, sustainable way that actually fits around work, family, and life. He coaches a ton of fellow Pitt fans who've learned how to make progress without giving up the foods they love or the tailgates on Saturdays. And now Chris even offers a coaching option with a weight loss guarantee, so you can move forward with total confidence that your effort will pay off. Right now, Chris is running a Black Friday sale for the entire month of November, and Panther-Lair listeners can get 75% off their first month of coaching at chrisgatesfitness.com/coaching. Chris says he's doing this because this is the time of year when most people don't invest in themselves. Everyone's focused on taking care of others and getting through the holidays, but that's exactly why he wants to make it easier for you to start now. By getting in early, you'll learn how to navigate the holidays successfully and head into January way ahead of everyone else who's waiting for the new year. And as a Pitt fan, who knows? You may need help navigating extra tailgates and watch parties the rest of the year if this team finds itself in the college football playoff. Chris only has 10 spots available, and they're going to go fast. So if you're a Pitt fan ready to make a change and you want a coach who gets what your life actually looks like, head to chrisgatesfitness.com/coaching and submit your application. Chris will reach out to you directly to talk more about your goals and what type of plan will work best for you. That's chrisgatesfitness.com/coaching. Black Friday sale, 75% off your first month with a weight loss guarantee. All right. We got a super chatter here. Jack says, bold prediction. Pitt gets a defensive touchdown, a blocked punt, and a kickoff return to at least the 50. Notre Dame moves the ball and gets to Mason Heinchel, but Pitt makes key plays to win. Pitt wins 45-43. That would be exciting, Jim. A 45-43 game that Pitt wins?
That'd be really exciting. What is the over-under? Like, what are like, is Vegas expecting points? Like, am I crazy for thinking?
Let's look at scores and odds. This is always the site I go to. Right now, they currently have Notre Dame at 12.5, and the over-under is 55.5. So, decent amount of points.
Yeah, my number was somewhat close. What'd I say? 35-27, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm taking the under, and you're 35-27. You're taking the over. So, I mean, that's
Jack's taking the over.
Oh yeah. No, wait, what did you say? Didn't you say 35-27?
Yeah, I'm just saying, but Jack is definitely taking the over.
Jack is also taking the over. You and Jack both are taking the over.
Correct.
Because 35 plus 27 is 62, right, Jim?
Yes.
Yes. So you are also taking the over.
I was just
55.5. Okay.
I mean,
and Jack
at
well.
888. That's a lot of points.
Look, a kickoff return to at least the 50. I would say that's like probably minus 225 or something if you're in a bet on that. I think that's probably pretty likely. A blocked punt, I don't know. Not so sure about that. But you know what? Those are the kind of plays that Pitt's probably going to need, I think, in order to win this game. They're going to need like a big special teams play. They're going to need that 38-yard scoop and score from Cruz Brookins. Like, they're going to need big kickoff returns to get good field position. I think they're going to need some of those kind. Like, I don't want to make Pitt out to be like the super underdog that can't possibly win without like crazy freak plays. But like, I think Notre Dame does have more talent than them. I think Notre Dame, like you said, I think they are a better team, kind of, 1 through 22 on each side of the ball. And so they're going to need some big kind of not freak plays, but goofy plays. Like, they're going to need some things to go their way. I think if they're going to win this, and I'll take Jack's bold prediction, the defensive touchdown, the block punt, and the kick return to the 50. Like I say, I think the kick return is probably pretty likely. I think they'll have Kenny Johnson back there for it. I think they've got guys who can do it, and their return units have been really good this year, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look back at like the most recently big hyped up games at Heinz Field or Acrisure, like the past two West Virginia games, and both of those games had something crazy happen. Like, there was like, a pick six at the end of the game. There was a block punt return for a touchdown. So like, sometimes you need those, like in a rivalry, in a big game, in a game like this, like those can be momentum swings. And I don't know, I wouldn't put it past them to like, break one good play. I mean, I know like Marcus Freeman didn't talk a lot about Pitt, but didn't he say they had good special teams, or did I make that up?
Narduzi said it a lot. He talked about how both
Narduzi.
teams have a lot of special teams. I missed if Marcus Freeman said that. I mean, I do think this Pitt team has, the old cliche, the big time players make big time plays in big time games. I think Pitt has some big time players, like guys who are capable of making big time plays. I think Rasheem Biles, if he's back out there on Saturday, like, I mean, we saw it, right? We saw a 75-yard pick six against Louisville, an outstanding play that like was more than a little reminiscent of Jarrell Revis's punt return against West Virginia in 2006 with the way he kind of spun around and got out of trouble and got through traffic and got up the sideline. I mean, it's a big-time play by a big-time player. Kyle Lewis is a big-time player. I think Cruz Brookins is a big-time player. Those guys can make those kinds of plays in this game. Cam Lindsey, I think, is a budding big-time player, I should say. And then I think Kenny Johnson is too. You know who is interesting to me, Jim? I was looking at like yak yardage, like yards after the catch, and Notre Dame varying amounts of yak that they gave up, yak per reception. Texas A&M had a huge game with like 174 yards after the catch. They averaged 10.2 yak per reception, and their one guy who did most of the damage, this Mario Craver, had 7 catches for 207 and a touchdown, 137 yards after the catch. He worked almost all out of the slot. 82% of his snaps were in the slot. Raphael Williams is Pitt's slot guy. Now, it's not some guarantee that every guy in the slot is going to get a ton of yak, but I could see Raphael Williams kind of sneakily having a big game here. 1 or 2 big catches from Kenny Johnson, but some consistent, like 4 to 7 yard gains from Raphael Williams, and then a couple times where he breaks some tackles or just makes a catch and makes a good move and takes off and gets some yards after the catch. I could see him, because I think he's been, and maybe this is my own personal biases coming through, but I think Raphael Williams is one bit, when we talk about pleasant surprises, maybe one of the most pleasant surprises for me this season. I think he's been really, really good. Better than I thought he was this year. He really is always open. And, there have been times where he's been open and it's been a bad throw, but he ran such a good route. He was wide open. And you're like, oh man, the quarterback really screwed that up because there was a chance for a really good play there. I think he's had a really strong season.
I think Kenny Johnson's probably Pitt's best overall talented receiver, but I think Raphael Williams is having the best season of a Pitt wide receiver this year. Just because he's come up with big catches. Like he's been in the right spots. Like he's made some really impressive plays. Like, it just seemed like you said, he's always open. Like that's where he is. But like, I think just from like a down to down consistency, like he's been their best threat in the passing game. But like also to that point, like speaking of yak and like getting guys in the slot, like it'd be interesting to like kind of maybe move Kenny there just because he is good at yak. Like get him on some favorable matchups and see if he could just turn one. Yeah. I mean, you already put him on special teams. Like it's kind of the same thing. Give him space and let him see what he can do.
He has had more than a few catches this year where it's like, oh, he caught it. Oh, nice gain. Oh, look, he's still going. Like, oh, he's still running. Oh, he got away from that guy. Yeah, it would be interesting to see, if you could get him on a linebacker maybe, or let him run like with a full head of steam at a safety. Yeah, there might be some opportunities there. Dale Gribble says, I bit the bullet and spent $300 for a ticket that I normally spend $50 for. See you at the game. All right, Dale, we'll see you there. He also says, I was happy to hear on the Pat Narduzi radio show tonight that Desmond Reed is ready to go. Look, I think no, this is not an ACC game. The games that'll decide Pitt's chances in the ACC championship are the next 2 and all that stuff. And you can not that anybody's really trying to downplay this game, but anybody who's even close to being able to walk on the field is playing in this game on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're erring on the side of caution with anybody. Like, you're going out with all guns blazing, all hands on deck. Anybody who can play will play. And if Desmond Reed is at 50%, he's playing at 50%. And if he's at 75%, he's playing at 75%. If Kenny Johnson, if Cruz Brookins, Rasheem Bile, whoever it is, like, everybody's playing in this game. They will leave everything they have on the field. And it might cost them in the Georgia Tech game or the Miami game, but they're not. No, I don't want to say they're not holding anything back. You know what I mean? Like, they are going into this and like hell yeah, Des Reed, go get Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Like, this is the biggest team you've played since you got to Pitt. This is the biggest opponent that you have faced. Go get them, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think with like leading up to this game, like they everyone kind of pointed at Notre Dame, like because it followed a bye. Like they held everything together with some rubber bands and some duct tape, and they got through Stanford and NC State with kind of a skeleton crew on defense. But like, I think all along, like, there's like, let's just survive these 2 games and see what we can have with Notre Dame. We're going to put our best team on the field and, let the chips where they lie. So I think that was the mindset. And I think that's probably going to be true. I mean, there's not going to be an injury report tomorrow. Everyone remember that. It is not an ACC game. So yeah, I guess we're all going to be waiting towards Saturday, but like also at the same time, like I think most of the people you would want playing in this game are going to be playing in this game.
Yep. Let's see. This is interesting. ZC717 says, of the 3 quarterbacks that Pitt has left to face, how would you rate them from best to so-so? CJ Carr, Haynes King, Carson Beck. This is an interesting question.
It is an interesting question because they're all very different, and like Haynes King, like just absolute warrior, can run you over, does all that kind of stuff. Like CJ Carr looks really good, like awesome for a freshman, and like Carson Beck still has some game. Like he's had a couple of down ones, but like I mean, Miami started the year great. He was looking really good. It looked like he found himself. I don't.
Yeah, it's tough because Beck is. I mean, Beck, like the Beck of 2024 has shown up in the last few games. You know what I mean? He's starting to throw the interceptions, and I think Pitt's defense, for whatever it is, can get some interceptions. You know, I think a guy like him who puts the ball in jeopardy can get got by Pitt. You know, they haven't really gotten got by a quarterback like Haynes King. You know, I mean, for the most part, I don't know if you want to count Cade Klubnik as a guy like that. I think Haynes King is more athletic than Cade Klubnik. I mean, it might be in that order. It might be Carr, King, Beck. That's what Josh Newark says. Carr, King, Beck. That was the order that the question was asked. I mean, you know, Marshall Ju says Beck is a wild card, All-American one game, poor play the next. Yeah, let's see if anybody else chimed in on this, but that might be my order. I don't know. But I guess we'll see when Pitt actually plays them. The Panther chat says, so what ACC team do we need to lose this week in this conference that everybody loves so much? Sarcastic. Well, there are 2 games. There are 2 teams, right, that you're keeping an eye on, Jim. You need Virginia or SMU to lose at some point, right? SMU? Yeah.
Yes.
So Virginia's at Duke in a 3:30 game on Saturday. SMU is off. Next week, SMU hosts Louisville. Virginia's off. And then in the final week, Virginia hosts Virginia Tech, and SMU is at Cal. It's 4 games. You need one of those 4 games to go the way you want them to go, which is Virginia or SMU losing. Now, all of that is contingent on Pitt winning out or beating Georgia Tech and Miami. But if Pitt wins those 2 games and Virginia or SMU loses one of those games that we talked about, then Pitt is in. Is that your understanding of this, Jim?
That is my understanding. My question in this is, in that Duke-Virginia game, like he also has 1 loss. If they win, why is that good for Pitt, I guess?
If it comes down to it and Pitt wins their final 2 games, they'll have beaten Georgia Tech and Duke lost to Georgia Tech.
That's the time.
So I think there's a common opponent because I don't think Duke and Pitt have any other, let me see who Duke played. Duke beat NC State, Duke beat Syracuse, and they lost to Georgia Tech. And so in terms of common opponents, that's all you have. Syracuse, NC State, and Georgia Tech. So that would be the separator.
Gotcha. In
my understanding of it, which is minimal. Let's see. See, this is the problem. Like I'm scrolling through comments here, Jim, and these are people who are commenting at like 8:52. ZC717 says, see, if this was the BCS era, this Notre Dame game would be a must-win conference game or a must-win game, conference or not. Yeah, that's true. But if it was the BCS era, only the top 2 teams would get in. So with 2 losses, it wouldn't matter if Pitt beat Notre Dame or not.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you know, there again, if this was the BCS era, you'd be trying to get to a BCS bowl. You'd be trying to get to the Peach Bowl or the Orange Bowl or the, Tostito Bowl or whatever it might be. And so here again, this would not be a must-win game because the 2 conference games that would presumably give you a chance to win the conference would be the more important ones. Let's see. Scrolling through. Josh Newark says the last time Pitt played Notre Dame, Pat Narduzi made a really dumb comment too. Do you remember?
Oh yeah,
2023. What did he say?
It was in the post game. I think I asked the question. It was something about, he says like, we just haven't been the same way as last year. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, we lost good players and didn't replace them with.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
that one. I remember that now.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So
Yeah. Like there again, like
it happens all the time. Like
that's the thing. Like, so, he's talking about, well, they had Kalijah Cansey, an All-American and a first-round draft pick. They had Servassier Dennis. They had Jared Wayne, who had 1,000-yard season. Like, they had Keaton Slovis. Yeah, like, you get what he was saying, but like, boy, did you have to say it like that?
Yeah, I remember it like causing a storm like the night of.
Yeah.
Even like some of the Pitt players were like, but like somehow he got it smoothed over by like Monday. I don't know.
I think it was Noah. Noah's tweet
it was definitely Noah's tweet.
It was Noah's tweet got all the Pitt players. They were like tweeting it on like the plane ride. Like I think Gavin Bartholomew like retweeted it or something, and a bunch of the
oh yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. See, there's so many of these things that happen that I just don't even notice it anymore. Chris Bruno wants to know, what reception do you think Pat McAfee will get on Saturday? He's well liked, but he's West Virginia through and through. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the show, but he doesn't seem like a bad person. He doesn't really seem too mean spirited in what he does. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. Like, do you think Pitt fans will boo him because of the West Virginia connection?
I think they'll give him a hard time at first, or
Yeah.
at moments, or if like they show the 13-9 game and stuff like that. Like, but I think he's also pretty good he's good in this setting. Like, I think he's good on College game day. Like, I think he's good at controlling the crowd, and everyone wants to be around him and kick the field goal with him and do all that kind of stuff. So like, I think he's going to be good-hearted and good natured about it. Like, kind of take some of the ribbing from Pitt fans, but also give it back. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be a good atmosphere with him, but I would say initially booed, but like maybe he'll catch their attention midway through the show.
Yeah. ZC717 says Darrelle Revis should be the guest picker, so him and Pat McAfee can talk about that punt return from the 06 Brawl. Have they not announced the guest picker yet? When do they announce that?
I actually don't know. So I'm interested to see who it's going to be, because like it could be a direct Pitt tie, like someone like Aaron Donald who's having his jersey retired. That makes a lot of sense. It could be a Pittsburgh-based celebrity. Like, I don't like. What's Wiz Khalifa doing? I have no idea. Donnie Iris, someone big. Or it could just be a celebrity that has nothing to do with Pittsburgh. They sometimes do that on College game day. So I don't know.
Isn't Aaron Donald the obvious option?
You would think.
Why would you go away? Like, one of the best players in the history of the NFL, surefire Hall of Famer, a direct connection to what's happening on Saturday, gonna be there.
It makes too much sense.
It's like I don't know what box is not checked. Like pop culture appeal, I guess. Right? Like it's not like general public has any idea, about a defensive tackle from the LA Rams.
Right. And I don't think he has like an overly colorful personality. Like, that TVs might not be his thing. But like, I think he'd be fine in that setting.
I think he would do well.
A 10-minute segment. Yeah.
I think he knows what they're looking for, and I think he could rise to the occasion. Let's see. Just kind of scrolling through here. We're almost done anyway. Yeah, Jack says the loyal Sons were saying that they think Aaron Donald will be the guest picker because they're retiring his number at the game. I mean, I just think that seems too obvious. Dale Gribble says he has a feeling it's going to be John Gruden. I hope that's not the case. All right, Will Z says, John Gruden said the most important matchup is going to be Kendall Stanley versus Notre Dame stud defensive end who has 7 sacks. Not going to lie, that matchup scares me. I mean, yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup for just about any offensive tackle. I think Kendall Stanley has played well. The penalties, which unfortunately get a lot of attention, and understandably so, that that stands out about him in a major negative light. But like, I think he's generally been pretty good as a blocking offensive, as a blocking left tackle. Did you see Pat Narduzi's comment on, is it Gramlich and McLean? It was on the message boards. He did a podcast on like Monday where he said, our left guard and our left tackle are out for the season.
Yeah, that's news to me.
Yeah. Another thing I'm going to have to ask him about tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take a notepad in there with all the things I need to ask him about. It's really just those two, but I think Kendall Stanley's been pretty good. Are you?
Yeah, I think he's been good. I mean, I just say in general, like Notre Dame's defensive line against Pitt's front is going to be the match of the game. Can Pitt keep Heinzel protected? I mean, like we saw what game? Like, he got sacked like 7 times one game. Like that can't happen. Like you can't be one of those type of games. So like he's gonna have to run around and create. But like, yeah, I mean. Stanley's been okay. I think if you take away the penalties, just the down-to-down football, he's been fine.
Yeah, I agree. And his pressure rate is not, I mean, it's the best among the tackles. I mean, it's according to Pro Football Focus. And final thing, Patrick McKinney. Is this one of your boys, Jim? Patrick McKinney? Okay. I don't know why, like, when I see someone with a full name like that, I assume it's one of your boys. Yeah, I guess. Reminder, Hamcoming tailgate. Oh yeah, we talked about this last week.
Rumham.
Yeah, Hamcoming tailgate, Gold Lot 1, gluten-free NA beer. That's not true. I don't think you have any gluten-free non-alcoholic beer. And let me tell you, man, I wouldn't want it even if you did. All right. Let's see here. I think that's about all right, Michael White says, I assume the picker will be Aaron Donald. Maybe they can get Jeff Goldblum out. Jeff Goldblum would be pretty cool, but Aaron Donald's still the obvious option, right? I mean, even over Jeff Goldblum. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. It's been fun, as always. Pitt basketball tomorrow night at West Virginia, Pitt-Notre Dame on Saturday. Jim will be at the West Virginia game. Jim and I will both be at the Notre Dame game. And, of course, we'll have the post-game show afterwards right here at youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. So make sure you like this video and subscribe. And then don't forget to check out Panther-Lair.com for all the content to get ready for the game. I don't know if there's anything else to say other than just stay tuned, because we got a lot of content ready for you over the next couple of days, and certainly morning pits and all those different things. So thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Jim, thanks for your time. Thanks to all the commenters. And we will catch up with you tomorrow for the morning pit right here, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.